That's important, folks.
Jerry.
The Cowboys made two mistakes in the last 3 years. One was letting Dak take over for Romo and not having Romo come.
Superstition, screw that. Let's pick this bad boy up and walk it around the ice.
Kevin Donlin.
The NFL, like every league, is a business. And in a business, you have a job. And let me tell you something. You always have a boss. No matter who you are, you have a boss when you're in the organization. The New York Jets, you know what they need to do with their second round pick? They need to just start taking it and lighting it up on fire.
This is Running Up the Score, your one-stop spot for all things sports. Join in on the conversation by calling in at 605-562-7085. Now here's your hosts, Jerry Napoleonello and Kevin Donlin. Now here's your hosts, Jerry Napoleonello and Kevin Donlin.
All right, it's time to run up the score. We are back. We got week 3 coming up. We had a week off. We didn't get into week 2.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely.
We didn't even pick
I'm gonna
week
blame
1.
you for that one. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this one over here with the busy schedule.
Sorry.
Guys everywhere.
I am sorry.
Can't be in the studio.
Enjoying the
if you
youth.
want to call it a studio.
Damn right it's a studio.
Yeah, I mean. But, yeah, so we're going to talk about some interesting things that came up. I mean, we didn't get to talk about any of the Antonio Brown stuff, which we could have just went in on with everything that was going on.
I mean,
I think the whole thing was coerced. I thought the whole thing was...
It was short, sweet. I mean, you literally just go to the point, and honestly, what happens is that literally... We're good. We're good here. It was just a joke. Obviously, what he did was just not right for the Oakland Raiders. I mean, you know, they gave up a lot for him, and you know, it just shows the way these draft picks for nothing. It's quite it's an embarrassment on him because you're a professional athlete and you literally are, you know, you're literally just basically the kind of personality that you have, and you don't want to have that kind of personality. You don't want that in the locker room, and it's very short and sweet, just like that. I mean, the New England Patriots are seeing it. You see Tom Brady talking it nonstop about the questions about Antonio Brown. The same thing goes for Bill Belichick. These guys don't want to answer questions about this, man. Tell me about Sunday. Tell me about the New York Jets. But it's not going to be that for New England. They'll be getting questions all day long. Well, it also helps the fact that they're 19-point favorites over the New York Jets.
They're actually 23.
Okay, it went up. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah,
you know, obviously, the Jet fan is not looking good right now. My prediction in the beginning of the season, I don't think I've ever been more wrong in my life. But unfortunately, obviously, everything going on with Sam Darnold, and you know, for the New York Jets, I guess this team does need another piece. There's more that needs to come for the New York Jets. Adam Gase is very demanding, of course, and you're seeing it with a bunch of guys being benched. He might want to slow his roll at some point. But this could be a very short tenure for Adam Gase if he doesn't get this going. I mean, you know, injuries happen in the NFL. The good coaches find ways. They find ways to win. They've always found ways to win. So, you know, when it comes down to it, Bill Belichick, these guys, you know, Antonio Brown's a great talent. There's no debating it. And in order to keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs, New England needed someone like Antonio Brown. But the questions and the distractions, we'll see what happens.
Sometimes
it's a long season.
It's not worth the headache and the questioning.
Well, big headache that we've had going on in New York media, obviously, has been the debate of whether or not Eli Manning is a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Well, I mean, it first starts off because he just got benched. We were waiting for it to happen. Nobody thought that it was going to happen this early. Not even me, not Kevin, not anybody really in the New York area or everywhere else. But It happened. It's week 3. Daniel Jones is now the quarterback, and I think now you can't go back to Eli.
Oh no, you can.
I-
Daniel Jones can get hurt, and then you go right
Well,
back to Eli.
yeah, obviously that's the only way I think you go back to Eli. I don't think you can, if Daniel Jones is playing bad, I don't think you can go back to Eli. I mean, it just can't happen. So now it's just now you hear the question: is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer? Now, right then and there is where I will tell you that, that's a problem. Like, if you have to question if a guy has 2 Super Bowls, if you have to question that he is,
Well, the point is
if
that
he's a Hall of
there
Famer
should be
or
no
not.
question.
There shouldn't be a question, but that's the problem. He's not that good of a quarterback for you to say, sure shot, Hall of Famer. He's got 2 rings. That should be right then and there. No doubt in your mind. No doubt in your mind. But there is still doubt in people's minds that this guy, I just don't think he's a Hall of Famer. To be totally honest with you, I don't think
the
he's
facts
a Hall of
don't
Famer.
lie. I think that the Green Bay Packers in their history, I think only have like 5 losses at home in the playoffs. 2 of them would be Eli Manning. Tom Brady should have 8 Super Bowl rings if it weren't for Eli Manning. This league would have been very, very different without him in it. So, I mean, in his defense, most quarterbacks that win Super Bowls are going to be Hall of Famers. And it's just a known fact because it's a long season.
Listen, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I know it is.
It
Like,
shouldn't
I
even
know-
be a question.
But it is a question.
The fact that
And
Joe Namath is sitting in the Hall of Fame right now after 1 Super Bowl, ring, and my man was not even a 500, record type quarterback, and neither is Eli. Eli is actually,
Well,
I think, officially 1 game under 500
No,
for his career.
he's 500. He's 116
Oh, yeah?
and 116. He is 500. Now, just kind of going into it, with a quarterback like that, Hall of Famer, Eli Manning has only really cracked the top 10 in QB rating one time. And I don't consider his 2004 season his first season because he only played 7 games in that year. He came in for I think it was Kerry Collins. So I'm not considering that. So I went from 2005 to 2018. These are years that he played every single snap other than 2018 where I think he missed 1 start. So
I'm not a Giant fan. I mean, I don't know.
yeah, I think it was 1 start.
There's really
So
no other way to put
basically,
it.
he cracked the top 10 in QB rating in his 14 years that I have here 1 time, and that was 2011. And his QB rating that year was 92.9. He hasn't been good. I mean, he's 23rd, 18th, 25th, 15th, 11th, 17th, 7th, 14th, 35th, 15th, 13th, 22nd, 25th, and 21st in QB rating.
You talk about the QB rating, but, when it comes down to it, any quarterback that is given the appropriate amount of time in this league will be more than exceptional. They really will be.
He was in the top 10 in interceptions 11 out of those 14 years. He was 2nd, 5th, 3rd, 21st, 12th, 1st, 8th, 10th, 1st, 9th, 7th, 5th, 7th, and 16th.
Well, you also have to put into perspective here is that there's an immediate effect of his QBR based on the interceptions.
Well, absolutely. And also his completion rating.
I
His
think what builds a quarterback more than anything is that how can you pick yourself back up? Any quarterback in this league can throw an interception. I've seen tip balls get picked off and all this kind of unlucky things happen to a quarterback. It's how you were able to respond.
Absolutely.
And there's no doubt about it that Eli probably had the worst of games, but when the games really counted, he got wins for this
But we
organization.
can even go into that, too, because, he had the 2 Super Bowl runs. Okay?
One of them was every game was on the road.
Well,
you're not playing
he
in
made
domes
the-
every
he
night.
made the
You're not
playoffs.
playing. You're playing in Green Bay, where the running game is important and managing a football game is just as important as
Absolutely.
any kind of QB rating
But
that you're going to point
also,
out.
what I'm talking about is out of, I think he made the playoffs 7 years out of his 14, we'll say.
I'm a Jet fan, so
Okay.
that I'll take that from Sam Darnold.
But
I'm on the
the
negative
two
trend on
Super
that one
Bowl,
right now.
the 2 Super Bowl runs were the only runs that he got past the first round. All the other times that he went to the playoffs,
It wasn't just
he was
him.
knocked out in the
It
first.
was never just him.
Absolutely, and that is where I want to go into. Okay, because we always talk about the quarterback. Now, first of all, just a side note, and it could just be my selfish way of going by it, and I think you know where I'm going. You give a Super Bowl to Tony Romo, is he a Hall of Famer? Without a doubt in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay,
But
that's
then,
all I want to know.
but then you
really.
point the finger at Jerry Jones.
Absolutely.
And you point the finger at Jerry Jones continuously
And you know what?
on this season.
He knows.
And I know Dak Prescott has been incredible.
Yeah, he really has.
But the supporting cast right now has never been great for the Dallas Cowboys. This is probably the best overall team.
This is the best overall team. That
But now you're
I've
going to
seen.
pay Dak Prescott for a couple of years, and there's going to be plenty of players on your team that should be signed to long term,
All right, but
they're
I-
not going to be.
listen, I'll go into this now. Every single offensive lineman is going to be with the team through 2024. That's huge. You're going to sign Amari Cooper to a long-term deal. So you'll have him probably through 2022, maybe 23. You have Zeke now until 2027, 28 or something like that. You'll have Dak Prescott probably till 2026, 27. So really, you have Jalen Smith. You have to sign Leighton Vander Esch. You sign them two. That's huge. Obviously, Jalen
Now
Smith
you have
is
money
already signed.
lined up on
But
about
now-
7 or 8 players, and barring any injuries, because this is the NFL,
You also have DeMarcus Lawrence signed too,
dead money.
which is huge. But the Cowboys now, coming into next year, they will be in the top, at least in the top 10. I can't remember exactly which one. In total cap space, top 10, which is crazy to me. But you know, when you're talking about these contracts and the way that they structure them and stuff like that, somehow Jerry Jones figured out a way to get to the Cowboys to be in the top 10 in cap space next year, which is huge. Because now you could maybe give a deal to
Right now you're looking at Dak Prescott not signed. You're
Yeah.
looking at a bunch of guys that are not been signed yet
Absolutely.
that need to get contracts, and then majority of that cap space that you're looking at is gone. And now you're
But-
looking at 2 cornerbacks that I've never heard of before, because you're going to have to pay a cornerback $10 million a year if you even think about having a World Series. I mean, a Super Bowl team.
Well,
World
you have
Series. You
you
hear
have
this, folks?
you have Byron Jones. Whether he gets signed or not, I kind of figured he would be the oddball out. You know, I don't know if he'll be signed. It's questionable. But you know, before we even go like totally off to the left, you know, we were talking about Eli Manning being a Hall of Famer. Your answer.
My answer is that yes, he should absolutely be a Hall of Famer. There's no debate here. I mean, New York media wants
There
to
is a
debate
debate,
it.
though.
There isn't.
I don't understand.
If Joe Namath is
Okay.
in the Hall of Fame, then every quarterback that has ever won a Super Bowl should be in the Hall of Fame, and it's rightfully
But
so.
that's the problem, though.
It's not
so
a
we're gonna
problem.
put Brad Johnson in the Super Bowl in the Hall of Fame because he's won a Super Bowl. We're gonna put a guy like Trent Dilfer in the
We're
Hall
talking
of Fame.
quarterbats that gave a team a consistent
but that's what
winning
I'm
for a
saying.
very
That-
long time.
that I
like you
understand.
said, he's made the playoffs a lot of times, even though they were first-round exits. That's a lot of wins there.
Absolutely. But you know what? The knock on Tony Romo was that he couldn't win the big one. He couldn't win a big game.
Yeah, no,
which
he
is
couldn't.
which is false. But that's not here nor there. You know, obviously this is
Well,
it's
you
just
know-
it's just an easy argument for me because I'm a Cowboys fan.
He
I
made
would
his
I would
share of
love
mistakes, and he'll be the first one to admit it, because Tony Romo was that kind of guy. He'll be the first to admit he made a lot of mistakes.
Absolutely.
You can't
But
make
you know
those
what?
mistakes if you want to
He
be a
also-
Hall of Famer.
He was also put in positions with the teams that he was given, put in the position where he was the best player on that team. And he had to get to
He was
that,
the most knowledgeable.
and he had to get that team to a winning score. I mean, basically that's what it came down to. If Tony Romo was not on those 8-8 teams, that team would be a top 10 pick.
I'll tell you, Eli Manning didn't
NFL
start
draft.
making this extensive amount of money until after the Super Bowl wins. Now, when they first signed him to these ridiculous contracts where he was making an absurd amount of money, I was not a fan of it. Just like I won't be a fan if Dak Prescott winds up being a big-time player.
But that's the thing. We
and a
can't
big paid player,
We
I should
can't
say.
even argue with that because it's the way the market comes down to. Like, there's no way of us, arguing that. That's it.
But
just
what
comes
I'm
down
saying
to
is
what a
that when Eli
quarterback-
Manning was winning Super Bowls, he wasn't a ridiculously large player.
No, I know.
He wasn't getting paid a lot of money.
Well, when
you could
have,
surround him with a team.
and the other thing is, for him to be a Hall of Famer and stuff like that, he was never the best player on any of his teams. Never.
No, of course not.
He was never even a top 5 player on any of the teams.
Anyway, you're going to tell me that all those years, Tony Romo was the one that was doing this for the Dallas Cowboys?
Absolutely.
Well, Dak Prescott came in and went undefeated for how many games in a row? I mean, this team was filled
But
and ready
it was
to go.
also it was also he was handed a very good, very, very, very good offensive line. Romo got that line with about 2 years left in his
And
career.
whose fault is that then?
And-
Whose fault is
No,
that?
that's a 110%.
That is the Dallas
And
Cowboys.
Jerry Jones will say, he says that his biggest regret as the owner of the Dallas Cowboys was not to get Tony Romo a Super Bowl. That was his biggest regret, and he said it.
I don't blame him.
Like
I
that,
would regret it too.
I mean, the guy, and it's sad that guy will not get into the Hall of Fame. With the numbers that he put up and what he did for the Dallas Cowboys for the 11 years or 12 years that he was on the Dallas Cowboys, it's sad. It really is sad. But again, we're moving more towards the Cowboys. I'm trying to keep
But
it.
we're just trying to put a comparison
But-
here. As your argument is that if Tony Romo is not a Hall of Fame quarterback, then Eli Manning shouldn't. And there's no argument there because there's a big difference there. This guy found a way to win 2 Super Bowls. You can argue Tom Brady is the most knowledgeable person on his team. He finds a way to win the game. He doesn't make mistakes late.
No, I know.
It's what makes Tom Brady Tom Brady. It's what made Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning made those mistakes for a very long time. Found a way to win.
Yeah.
And Peyton Manning did not have the best teams around him. He really didn't. And credit the New York Giants for what they were able to do for Eli Manning. But Eli Manning did what he needed to do to win games. And he
Now-
was a very intimidating quarterback for about 3 or 4 years. And we all know that little area of what I'm talking about. And, the New York Giants offense was no doubt one of the most intimidating offenses in sports.
Yeah.
Now, Plaxico Burress is a great player, and obviously, barring him ever walking into, a club one night and accidentally firing, a firearm, they would have won another one. And that is my absolute belief. And, Eli Manning, he would get the job done. And when you're able to get the job done as consistently as he was able to for a good 4 to 5 years straight, now it wasn't for 13 years,
Yeah.
but he got it done. And, I mean, when it comes down to it, I'm a Jet fan. Joe Namath is sitting in the Hall of Fame. Joe Namath probably doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, but he's there. And it's the same thing's going to work for Eli Manning.
My question is, last one before we even get into the picks. If Brett Favre doesn't win that one Super Bowl that he won, is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, he's a consistent winner. He won a long time. Eli Manning was
I
winning
mean,
for a long time. 4 or 5 years straight of winning will get you there.
Would you argue if they were to give Tony Romo a gold jacket?
Hell no. That's a hell no.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch it every day. I watch what Tony Romo was able to do with his sportscasting. It's incredible. And let me tell you, guys like Tom Brady, guys like Brett Favre, guys like Eli Manning, they know the game like that as well. Coverages and what a team's trying to do to you. These players, it's being able to perform based on what a defense is trying to do to you. I heard something the other day, and this is completely off topic, but it really just goes into perspective. O.J. Howard, and some of you guys do own him in fantasy, and obviously I feel for you. You got a good matchup against the Giants, probably a last chance start for him. At this point, you're not going to get a better matchup than this weekend. But the coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had put it the best way, and they were like, O.J. Howard has been struggling. He hasn't been able to get the ball much. And, the coach is very simple with it. He goes, well, he hasn't been open. I expect my quarterback to throw it to the open man. And defenses are going to lean towards someone of that size. O.J. Howard is a big boy, and he's very capable of catching a football. Now, who's going to intimidate you more? Mike Evans is a very good player on the outside. Godwin's a good player on the outside, and so is Howard. But obviously Godwin and Mike Evans find ways to get themselves open, Godwin especially. Yeah. And if O.J. Howard can't find a way to get open, or if the coverage is too tight as a quarterback, you're not trying to make mistakes in this league. You're not going to force the ball to someone's hands to get the production, because if you start throwing picks as the quarterback, guess what? Jameis Winston, he's already felt it once. You'll be sitting the bench, no problem. This coach on Tampa Bay will have no problem benching you.
Very good coach.
Yes. Bruce Arians is very good. And he is not one of those coaches that are going to let things push.
Crap.
I mean, it's the same thing with Adam Gase right now. You're seeing this in a coaching standpoint. Players getting upset. If you don't throw the right things on film, and when you're watching it in practice day in and day out, you're going to get ridiculed for it. Yeah. Now, if Jameis Winston tries to force a ball to O.J. Howard and it gets picked off, guess what's happening to him all week at practice? He is getting ridiculed on the basis of what happened. So there's a lot that goes into the game of football. And obviously it's decisions like that make great quarterbacks. And Tony Romo made great decisions for years. Eli Manning made great decisions for years. And that's really what it comes down to. Eli Manning is a Hall of Fame quarterback on the basis that he made the right decisions, and he also made the right decisions in the biggest of games.
Absolutely. I mean,
it just really doesn't seem like it should be a debatable thing.
It shouldn't. And that's where I have to point it out to everybody that
but I understand what you're saying with Tony Romo, and I'm dropping keys. I'm all over the ball.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, the fact that we're actually questioning is somewhat concerning when we're talking about a quarterback that has 2 Super Bowls. That we're actually having the conversation of.
Well, New York media is finding we'll find anything to talk about.
It's not even New York media though. It's all over. Like, it's a question on every radio station right now. Obviously, it's on ours too. But
it shouldn't be. It's a waste.
But I
heard this debate on another radio show. I'll be honest, it's getting switched. I want to hear about what's going on this Sunday, and I think that's what we should turn to right now.
Well, we are going to turn to that whenever that plays, but I guess there we go. Now it's going to play.
It's time for Running Up the Score.
Picks and predictions for Week 3.
Week 3. Here we go. We're going to start it off with tonight's game.
Yep.
Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Tennessee Titans are 2-point favorites. The over-under 37.5 from my bookie.
I'll be honest. I in this game, it comes down to it. Both defenses are very good. Neither team's going to have an easy time getting the ball down the field. I feel like the Titans' defense has been so shut down on very good offenses so far. So I think when Jacksonville comes in with Minshew, it should be no problem kind of a situation for them. They're probably a really good play in fantasy tonight, the Tennessee Titan defense.
Yeah. Did you see Minshew was offered a porn offer
I think I've heard all the funny stories. I hear about him stretching with just a jock strap on. The stories just continue. It's really funny. I love it. I mean, this is like, it's almost a comedic situation. We'll see how he plays football. We'll see how he plays, tonight. But it's not going to be an easy matchup for this kid. Tennessee is a very good team, and I know the game's at Jacksonville, but I'm going to go with Tennessee with the road up. Well, you can't really call it an upset, but the road win for the Tennessee Titans tonight.
You're giving 2. You going by the spread?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah, I already picked Tennessee.
3-point win. It might be a 9-6 game, folks. It might be one of those.
You're going to go with the under?
Yeah, I'll probably go with the under on this. I mean, just the defenses.
I went the over just because.
Yeah, I don't know. Football is one of those. I don't ever bet under overs, folks. I think the worst thing you could ever do is bet an under over in football. But I mean, all the sides point to the defense dominating this game. And if the defense decides to score a touchdown, then that's really just out of my hands.
We got the Fox guys on, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on that call. We both went Titans with the spread. Next game up, Cincinnati Bengals at the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are the surprise 2-0. As my co-host felt like they were going to be, that undercover, team that can come.
Well, I said they were
going
to compete for the AFC East.
Absolutely.
I also said the Jets were going to compete, but I also
Listen,
didn't know that.
Too. Nobody knew that. Sam Darnold was going to get
C.J. Mosley, Quinnen Williams. We got guys getting benched. It's just a mess. But no, the Buffalo Bills have been a great team. I don't care what the spread is on this game. Cincinnati Bengals have been complete Swiss cheese on the defensive side of the football. Their offense has actually performed surprisingly well, despite the fact their offensive line is one of the worst in the league. So it just shows what Andy Dalton's been able to do. I have the most credit for Andy Dalton more than ever this year, more than I've ever had from him before. They might make this a fight early on, but the Bills' defense is just way too good. The Bills' offense will find ways to score points on this defense. The Bills by whatever.
Bills are favored by 6.
Doesn't matter.
The over
you can give me 10. I probably would have taken the Bills.
I'm going Bills too. I think it's just it should be a win, and the Bills are going to be up there with the Patriots at 3-0, and Tom McCarthy and Jay Feely on the call. 1 o'clock game, Cincinnati Bengals at the Bills. Both of us going with the Bills -6. Now, one of the big spreads this Sunday. There's 2 of them. This one, the Dallas Cowboys are hosting the Miami Dolphins, 0-2, 2-0 squads. Let's just say the Miami Dolphins are averaging 5 points for the first 2 games.
I'll be honest, Miami has shown great stuff on film in the first couple of games. I thought they've been unbelievable. They've been the biggest.
Yeah,
they've been one of the worst.
Practice squad
They've
team.
been god awful. Guys wanting to leave this team. It's really it's quite embarrassing.
Minka Fitzpatrick was traded to the Steelers.
They're building, and I'll give them credit for where it's due. They obviously knew they didn't have a roster to compete, but this is just almost embarrassing. You want to compete. You got guys coming. You got season ticket holders that are looking to see a game. And the way they've been able to perform the first 2 weeks has just been up. Almost the most embarrassing performance I've seen in the first 2 games by any team. And I've been watching football for a very long time.
They have the spread right now on MyBookie.
I don't ever bet spreads like this, but I'm in a suicide pool and I'm taking Dallas. I mean, does that work?
The Cowboys are favored by 23.
Jesus.
It started out at 21, and the Patriots are favored 22.5 now. It went down a half a point. So
rightfully so. The Jets are.
But for us, Cowboy fans out there that had to watch last week and listen to Charles Davis, and we have to listen to Charles Davis again with Kevin Burkhardt. Being that, if you're a Madden player, you're getting a little sick of Charles Davis.
Real quick. Have you played the new NHL game?
I have.
I don't mean to put this on, because I feel bad for this kid. I don't know who he is, but their new announcer.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it should probably be me. I'm really surprised. You should probably give me a call for recordings for NHL, because this has got off. I've been playing the game in mute, and it's completely off topic. But let's continue.
Yeah, I don't know how you go from Doc Emmerich to this guy.
We'll move on real quickly. But I just had to throw that out there. That's really bad.
It kind of sounds like one of those NHL hits.
It's frustrating.
That old
game,
I
understand.
NFL Blitz and stuff like that, where it's kind of made as a joke.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're just talking about an announcer there, and the only thing that comes to mind of that is the new game.
You go from the greatest announcer in Doc Emmerich to a guy that
save money, but
NHL games.
Watch yourself, NHL. That's terrible.
So I'm going Cowboys with the spread.
Understandable. I'll do the same. Miami's giving me no reason to like them.
Yeah. Their averaging points against is 51, by the way. So we'll move on. We got the Denver Broncos 0-2 at the Green Bay Packers 2-0. We got Chris Myers, Darryl Johnston on the call. The spread in that game is Packers are favored by 8. Joe Flacco's been pretty bad for the Broncos. For anybody that thought he was actually going to be good for them.
I just think that Green Bay's defense has been surprisingly well.
Everything about Green Bay's been surprisingly
they've shown, they proved me wrong. I didn't think Green Bay would be able to compete. Honestly, I really didn't think they were even going to be up there in the standings. I thought Aaron Rodgers, new coach.
Yeah.
Obviously, their offense actually isn't really at the top form right now, but their defense has really picked it up. I think their offense was able to put a spark early on in last week, and I think they continue this week. I think the defense is going to have no problem shutting down Denver, but Denver will find ways to score. It'll be a closer game. I'm going to take Denver with the points, but Green Bay wins this game.
Yeah, I think I'm going Denver as well, +8. The over-under is 42.5. I might even go with the over on that one.
Yeah, I like the over, too. I think somehow these teams are both going to find ways to score points.
Next game up, we got Atlanta Falcons 1-1 at the Indianapolis Colts. We have Andrew Catalan and James Lofton on the call. 1 o'clock game in Indy. We were going into the season obviously finding out that Andrew Luck retired. So now, everybody was like, "Oh, what's the Colts gonna do?" But I kind of I like Jacoby Brissett. I mean, there was a reason why the Patriots were able to trade him to the Colts. He's not a bad quarterback. The fact that they're 1-1 right now is not surprising to me.
It's funny. This is a spread that's really going to catch a lot of people this week. I think a lot of people are going to really like the Atlanta Falcons plus the points. It's very minimal amount of points. I think it's 1.5. I'm a Colt fan in this one. I think the Colts defense is too much more superior than the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons have given up points to everybody. Their offensive line is going to have a hard time. That D-line for the Colts has definitely been great, and their corners are very good. You're going to see the defense of the Colts, make some big plays and probably able to make more plays than Atlanta's defense is going to be able to do to Brissett. You can say what you want about Brissett, but he'll find a way to move the ball, and Atlanta's going to have to try to keep up with that. And with the problems with their offensive line, I think this is Colts all the way.
It is 1.5. And I feel like the Falcons can feed off of last week's win over the Philadelphia Eagles. They played Sunday night, right? Or Monday?
What?
Falcons and the Eagles.
They played on Sunday night.
All right. So,
I lost my fantasy matchup because of it.
Oh, God.
So I remember.
Yeah. So, I feel like they can feed off of it. It was a good team win.
Yep.
You're going up against a team that, a lot of people for some odd reason are picking them to be in the Super Bowl. So it's a big win for the team, and I think you're going into Indy right now. It is a dome, so it's not like anything really changes for Atlanta, and it's plus 1.5. I think I got to
be honest. It was just terrible tackling. It was terrible tackling by the Philadelphia secondary, and just a terrible play call. The Atlanta's running game showed no reason for them to be playing a defense designed the way Philly did late in that game, and Julio was obviously going to take care of that, and the guy made it up to 20 miles per hour on that run. Julio still has it all day long. Guy's a great player, but that offensive line is going to have to give Matt Ryan some help or they're in trouble.
Absolutely. Next game up, 1 o'clock game, Baltimore Ravens 2-0 at the Kansas City Chiefs. 2-0, Iron Eagle Dan Fouts on the call for this one. This one is going to be a doozy. Absolute doozy.
I'm not really too sure on the basis that a lot of people don't realize that, the rain's coming in Kansas City this Sunday, and it's going to be a wet one from what I've been reading left and right. The weather in Kansas City does not look good. This could be a game that will be everyone's expecting to see back and forth.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that this, with the weather impacted, I think the better offense is going to go actually to the Baltimore Ravens. They're going to be able to find a way to run the ball better. So they're, I'm looking for the upset with, and I don't ever I'm telling you right now, I'm not putting the bet in. So I know rules, and the rules are you don't bet against Brady, you don't bet against, Peyton Manning, you don't bet against Breeze, and you do not bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Well, it's funny because you're looking at the spread, and it's 6.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take Baltimore plus the points. But
that's what I'm going to do. But if you look at it, it's 6.5. It's minus 6.5 for the Chiefs, but it's plus 100. So it's like
they're going to wind up being 7 by game time.
They like that people are taking the plus 6.5 for Baltimore. So it's pretty funny. Plus 6.5 is big for Baltimore.
It's only because of the weather, folks. If the weather was a lot nicer, the Kansas City Chiefs probably be 10-point favorites in this game.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson's a great player, and they're going to be able to move the ball. Kansas City's been Swiss cheese, but Patrick Mahomes is just unstoppable.
It's just going to
really
be
no
easier.
other way to put it.
It's going to be easier for Lamar Jackson to run the ball than it is for Pat Mahomes. And Pat Mahomes can run.
And Damian Williams might not even be playing. They still got Ingram in Baltimore. Baltimore's designed to have a great game this week.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
They could find a chance to upset, but I do like them with the points.
I like
especially
Baltimore
with the rain.
With the points as well.
Just with the rain. If there was no rain, it would be a much different game.
52.5 over under, though. I might go under.
No, I'm going to still go over because these teams are going to find ways to score, and Patrick Mahomes can sling it no matter what. We'll see how hard it rains, but from what I've heard, early reports, it's not looking good.
Next game up, 1 o'clock, Oakland Raiders 1-1 at the Minnesota Vikings 1-1. You got Dick Stockton and Mark Schlereth on the.
You're gonna have to work on that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's so hard to say. Schlereth. Schlereth. There you go. So, how about you try to say it?
Schlereth.
That actually wasn't that
Dude,
bad.
I can say anything. You know the deal.
I just thought that the lisp would be a little bit of a problem with the Schlereth.
I'm good.
But we got
Minnesota -9, Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders have shown some good promise at times. They looked like they had a chance to beat Kansas City before, Patrick Mahomes broke single-quarter records. So the Minnesota Vikings have a well-designed team. And the sickest part is that their $30 million player doesn't really have to be a $30 million player for them to succeed. It was a really bad decision for them to sign this man. I think any quarterback on the center right now can find a way to win with the formula that Minnesota has. And right now, the Minnesota Vikings, between their defense and their running game, there's just really no other way to put it. They're a great team, and they're going to cover this 9. They're at home. It's a dome game. Derek Carr might be able to find ways to score. I do kind of like the over a little bit, but the Minnesota Vikings running attack is going to be. It's just going to be no shot for Oakland to stop it. They just don't have enough playmakers on their defensive side to make these stops. They haven't been able to really stop anybody yet. So, give it credit to Minnesota. They're going to find a way to cover this and they'll win the game.
Yeah, I think. It's so hard for me because Kirk Cousins is so bad.
I agree. I understand, but I think that with the running game that they have, Kirk Cousins does not have to be $30 million value, but. He'll still be able to be effective. I mean, any quarterback would be effective. Any quarterback would be effective with the way they.
Minnesota should have won last week against the Packers. That should have happened.
No, of course, I agree. Minnesota is a very
throwing a pick in the end zone with 4 minutes left was absolutely horrendous on a throwaway.
On first down.
Yeah,
it was a first down. That's the biggest problem.
I'm just saying, he was. It to me at least, it seemed like he was just trying to throw the ball away.
I just feel like they're going to be so well in control in this game that even his mistakes aren't going to be the one to cost it. I mean, even your dogs agree.
Yeah.
You weren't expecting that.
I'm gonna take the Raiders.
I understand. There's a lot of points.
It's yeah.
And on to the next one. The New England Patriots play host.
This is a lot.
The New York Jets.
22.5 in this one.
Honestly, Falk showed me great. I can't even say it with a face.
Yeah.
Obviously, the New England Patriots just look like a very dominant team. Their defense looks ridiculously well, and it's really scary. It's a concept that's really, really intimidating almost. And the Jets' defense will be good. They'll find ways to stop this New England offense to some degree. But, Antonio Brown and Julian Edelman, they're going to just be way too much. I don't think I'll be honest, it's actually a surprise to everyone when you see a game with a spread like that the running game will be quite efficient. But the New York Jets have not had a hard time stopping the run this year, and I think it's going to take Tom Brady. I'm going to take the Jets plus the points, but just because the New York Jets aren't going to score anything.
The Patriots are plus 73 point differential. Fourth team in Super Bowl era with plus 70 point differential through first 2 games. Fourth team in the Super Bowl era to allow 3 points or fewer through the first 2 games as well. So that's a little tidbit.
Cool.
For
I'm
you
so
right
glad
there.
you have these stats on deck.
That's
I'd say it's really what I want to hear as a Jet fan. I want to hear all these great things about the New England Patriots. You got more?
No,
I'm just
I
kidding.
can keep going.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I like.
Oh,
Do
man.
I think that the Jets can cover 22.5? Luke Falk. The Patriots have already screwed
I don't know.
me.
I'm taking the Jets because I'm a Jets fan, but probably not.
I took the Dolphins plus 18.5 against the Patriots, and didn't really work for me. Being that they won 43-0. So I'm gonna go the Patriots here. You said it earlier. Don't bet against Tom Brady.
I said I like him. Doesn't mean I'm going to bet the New York Jets
yeah.
this week. I promise you that.
So we got the Detroit Lions at the Philadelphia Eagles, 1-0-1 against 1-1. Thank the Lord that the Eagles lost. Ugly loss against the Atlanta Falcons last week for the Eagles. The Eagles do pick it up, I think, against the Detroit Lions this weekend.
I think you want to talk about overs being a lock.
Yeah.
This is looking like a lock for the over. You can make it 50-something. It doesn't make a difference. Barring any bad weather.
This game is is 5.5.
Yeah, I mean, I like Philly minus the points. Philly is surprisingly really bad on the defensive side. I think their front line is okay. It's not the way it was a year or two ago. And their cornerbacks and their whole secondary as a whole has been getting depleted by every team. And the play calling. I'm not really a fan of this coach in Philadelphia. I really don't think he's a very good head coach.
They came out of that Atlanta game with a Harry Potter book of injuries. They came out with at least 8, I think.
It was a bad situation. They're going to be understaffed, and obviously a couple of guys are going to have to step up. But, they still have a very dominant offensive line. They still have both their running backs. I think their running backs and their running game is able to control this game, and I think that's going to be the difference.
But all 3 of their wide receivers got hurt. Alshon Jeffrey.
They're going to have to take a
Deshaun
lead
Jackson,
and run early.
And Nelson Aguilar all got hurt. Dallas Goedert got hurt. Jernigan is out for the season. I mean, they got depleted in that game, which is crazy. But 5.5, Eagles are favored.
It's the Detroit Lions, folks.
Yeah, I think they cover. I think the Eagles cover.
Yeah, it's just because it's Detroit. I mean, they just have that vibe. I mean, it's just like Cleveland. It's just not going away no matter what. Cleveland did not look dominant against the Jets either.
No. Carolina Panthers, 0-2 at the Arizona Cardinals. 4:05 start. Dan Helly and Braden.
Well, the Panthers defense showed me Panthers defense showed me something impressive last week. I was actually quite surprised. I really wasn't high on their defense at all in the beginning of the season. That's all they got.
I mean, that's all they got.
Well, right now, even with a backup quarterback and they're taking on Kyler Murray, I'm still going to take the Carolina Panthers to win this game. I don't know what the spread is. It should be very low on the basis of a backup quarterback, and they're in Arizona.
Yeah, who's their quarter? It's like Kyle something.
I don't care. Kyle Allen, I think.
Yeah, something like that. The spread.
He's actually a good deep sleeper of mine for daily fantasy sports. I think Arizona's just really that
2.5 favorites for Arizona.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with the upset here with Carolina. I think Kyle Allen finds a way. He's got a lot of weapons there. DJ Moore's a very good player, and Greg Olson's very good. Their offensive line has held up decently, and McCaffrey also you can't forget. I don't know where he was last week. They should have involved him a lot more. It was a big reason why they lost.
Yeah. Moving on. I'm going to go against you. I'm going to go Arizona with the points. Giants 0-2 at Tampa Bay Buccaneers 1-1. We've been talking about the Giants. They will be starting Daniel Jones. We got Kenny Albert and Rondé Barber and Tiki Barber in the booth. Both Barber twins will be in the booth. It's really not that cool, but
no, well, for a Cowboy fan, of course not.
I actually like Tiki because he hates on them so much. So, yeah, this is not going to be a good one for the Giants.
Honestly, it's probably the toughest pick for me this week is this one because I don't know what to expect out of Daniel Jones, but I do know what to expect out of the New York Giants defense, and that's why I'm going to lean Tampa Bay on this one.
-6.5.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. I mean, their defense is just giving up. That's the problem.
Yeah,
it matters about whether or not Daniel Jones keeps up. Because Tampa Bay has shown that they can be moved on. I mean, Cam Newton did not see too much pressure last week. It's just he didn't convert.
Yeah, and I would say, it's basically, they can't stop a tight end, but it's really, they can't stop the tight end. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the wide receivers. So after all of that, it equals into a loss. I'm taking Tampa Bay as well, -6.
Next one up is the Houston
Texans.
As they take on the San Diego Chargers.
They're not San Diego. Again,
I don't care. I'm going to continue to do it.
You've done it.
I'm going to do it from now on.
Every time we talk about the Los Angeles
Don't
Chargers,
care. Those
you
are my
keep
boys.
saying San Diego.
San Diego I'm a big fan of. I was mad when they got rid of the San Diego Chargers.
Listen, so was I.
It's California. I don't care. It's California.
I just think it's stupid because
Call them California.
It's just two other teams that are going to have to share a stadium, which is stupid to me. Just like it is with the New Jersey Giants and the New Jersey Jets. It's stupid. But, what are you going to do about it?
Well, going into
Did you actually hear Josh Allen last week when he was in the press conference? And they're like, oh, you could have ended up in New York with the Jets. And he's like, well, I am in New York. And then they're like, well, the Jets. And he's like, the only New York team.
It's true. Buffalo is the only New York team.
100% true. And did you see the baby get thrown through a table, basically?
Yeah, it was
it was baptized
That was really funny.
That was pretty funny, actually. It was actually kind of
adorable.
yeah,
At
I
the same
guess,
time,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, basically.
All right, who we picking?
Well, let me pull up the because my computer died, so that's we're just batting 1,000 over here.
Slow clap.
Yeah, so we got the Texans. The Chargers are -3. -3 with
-3.
a 48.5 over under. I like the over.
I honestly just like the Chargers. I think their running game is going to be better. I'm one of those where I feel like a good running game is going to lead to it. San Diego still has a very good, intimidating defense.
Los Angeles.
Oh, I don't care. I don't care anymore. I'm going to call them California now. The California Chargers, just to aggravate you even more. But yeah, the
about
Los
the
Angeles
Anaheim?
Chargers, LAC, is going to win.
I'm gonna
cover.
go with the Texans.
All right, cool. Way to be that guy.
+3. Yeah, I'm always that guy.
This is the biggest surprise to me out of this. I mean, the New Orleans Saints are going to Seattle to take on the Seattle Seahawks, a Seattle team that I did not personally like. I still don't like. I don't think they're a good team.
If I really want to, I can in post production when I put this up on YouTube, I can go back to the last show that we did, and you hear it from this guy right here that he is predicting the Seattle Seahawks to be last in the NFC West. Last, not third, not second. Last.
All right, bro, get off me. Yo,
So-
I'll be honest. I do not think they're a good team. I think their offensive line is one of the worst. You're going to watch this game right now, and I don't care what the spread is. I'm going to go with the Saints and Teddy Bridgewater because they're going to be able to make an impact.
You're crazy.
Teddy Bridgewater showed 3/4 of non-performance against the Los Angeles Ram defense, which is a big difference.
-5.5 in Seattle, which is kind of.
Jadeveon Clowney will make some plays.
That should tell you, though. It's -5.5. They're in Seattle, which is like everybody thinks it's,
Dominant there.
basically.
Well, I'm going to take the Saints plus the
it's
points.
Unwinnable
100%.
for any away team.
100%.
And they're going up against a backup quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, who hasn't been a starter in like 4 years.
Because you're going to see that Russell Wilson and company are going to have a hard time. The Saints have a very good defense.
They do.
There's no debating
Cam
it.
Jordan's huge.
Cam Jordan, they had another rookie too.
Marshawn Lattimore.
Lattimore's
huge.
very good as a good corner
Yeah.
covering the number one receiver, even though I don't even know who the number one receiver on that team is right now. So they
I'm
just
gonna
don't
say
get
it's
enough.
Tyler Lockett.
They don't get enough protection for Russell Wilson.
DK Metcalf kind of showed a little bit last week, though.
Dude is an animal.
Yeah,
I've never
he
seen
is.
someone that big in my life.
Yeah. So we move on. I didn't pick. I'm gonna go Saints.
Smart man.
Yeah.
All right, Steelers in
5.5.
San Francisco.
San Francisco, the surprise 2-0. I mean, we actually liked San Francisco when we were talking about it in the preview. We liked them. I think you actually picked. No, we didn't. Oh, we were that stupid because.
Well, I definitely took San Fran to make the playoffs
Yes,
with the Rams.
Yeah, obviously.
I didn't expect Seattle to be 2-0, but I really don't expect that to keep up.
I mean, you can look at this division though, like 2-0 San Francisco, 2-0 Seattle, 2-0 Rams.
1-1.
And you got 1-1 with Arizona.
Hey,
But-
man, that
but
tie
you
might
know
be the
what? Hey,
difference between the
that-
Seattle
absolutely.
Seahawks coming in last.
Yeah. So we got Greg Gumbel, Trent Green on the call.
Do not care.
425 game. Jimmy Garoppolo, it's looking pretty good this year. I mean, you gotta like San Francisco in this game.
This is not going to be an easy one for them at all, though. I think this is going to be this is probably one of the toughest games to call this week. What's the spread? It really depends on it.
-6.5.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Pittsburgh plus the points. I think
I might
Rudolph
take
is going to show me
Pittsburgh.
something.
Yeah. You know what? I liked Rudolph in Oklahoma State. I really liked him actually, and I liked him out of that draft. Obviously, the Cowboys didn't take him, but yeah. So I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh with the points as well. 6.5 is a lot for San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
let's
Pitt,
not
too.
get like let's not get crazy on San Francisco. It's still San Francisco.
Well, I like them
But
a lot.
listen,
they might win. They're
I like
probably
them
going to
too.
win.
I like them too, but 6.5 is a little crazy for
Well, a
a
backup
team like
quarterback.
that.
That's the only reason why
Yeah,
they don't know what
but-
to expect out of
but
Rudolph.
whatever.
But Rudolph looked pretty good.
He did. Los Angeles Rams at the Cleveland Browns. This is the Sunday night game.
I think Cleveland Browns really come to earth on this one. I think there was a little bit of hype, but I don't even think the hype should have been that high. The New York Jets really had nothing to bring out onto the field for them, and
Baker
they really had a
Mayfield-
hard time.
To be honest with you, Baker Mayfield
Let's see how Baker Mayfield's going to be with this guy in his face all night.
I came into week 1 and I was like, you know what? I want to watch the beginning of this game. I want to watch the Browns. I want to see how they do.
What is the spread of this?
The spread of this game.
The Rams are probably
is
still favorites. I wouldn't be surprised. They have to be.
3.5 actually.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 3.5. I don't
even. Low.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
But I like the Rams at 3.5. But
Baker Mayfield's going to.
I looked at that and I looked at their offense the first drive and they looked unbelievable. I even tweeted about it. That was one of the most impressive first drives that I've seen. Ever since then, nothing's been impressive about the Browns' offense. You would think it would be more impressive. Obviously, Odell doing what he did against the Jets. I think a lot of that had to do with just being back in MetLife. It was funny that it was the same corner of the end zone, or the corner of the field, with that one-handed grab, which was absolutely ridiculous. But
ridiculous.
I think the Rams.
I'm in a daze right now remembering that catch. It was really one of the best. But going on, I mean, listen, Cleveland has their weapons. Their defense will be able to control somewhat. It's going to be a good game.
It isn't.
But I really just think you're going to get more of a spark out of Jared Goff and that offense than you're really going to get out of Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was missing a lot of throws last week.
Chicago. This is the Monday night game.
This was what we waited for last week. I just threw this paper on the floor.
Chicago Bears.
Why was this the last game on your list?
Because it's the Monday night game.
Ew. This is what they put on Monday night?
This is what they put on Monday night. Yeah, it's going to be
all right, well, I just got invited to go play poker on Monday night. I'm probably going to go do that.
I would do that, yeah.
Oh,
maybe put the game on in the background.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who are the Mets playing?
Yeah, right?
Honestly, I'm going to go with the Bears. Trubisky's been god-awful. You can't be worse. And the Redskins are probably going to give them everything they can. And this is a tough game as well. But I'm gonna go with the Bears and that defense to try to make a couple of plays and find a way to win.
The Redskins are a little better than I thought they would.
They are.
They're
There's no doubt.
Better.
I'm not putting any heat on them with that pick. It's just really I expect Khalil Mack to be a difference maker.
I think the Bears defense is the difference in this game. The Bears offense has been.
Can I stomp on that
horrendous.
Paper or no?
Take a step. Take a step. Yeah.
What's up? Hit it. We're good.
Yeah,
that was gross. I don't even want to look at that.
I'm not even going to look at the spread. I'm going Bears no matter what. But
Monday Night Football, folks.
I think it's going to be a close game.
Just hope we have more than 3 camera angles.
I want to see. Oh, God.
Thursday night list.
Yeah, that was. It's -4 with the Bears.
It's tough. I actually almost like the Redskins plus the points, but I think the Bears will win the game.
I was just about to say that. I almost like that, and I do love the under in that game. That's for sure. Love it. But love how this week 3 is going to be. Let's have some good games. Let's have fun watching the games, and let's hope all our picks work out. So if you guys actually take our advice and bet those games and lean more towards my side, you'll make some money, and then you'll keep coming back.
Don't forget, some of my picks were just pure out of love, okay? And that I would never bet them.
You know what? You can't play it like that. Obviously, the Jets, whatever. Like, you can't play picks out of love. You can't do that. It's not how it works.
The NFL is such a... I can't really word it the way I want to word it on this right now, but
obviously,
it is a messed up league.
You can't.
It is a messed up league.
Do you want to talk about the Jamal Adams? Do you want to vent on that before we get out of here? Do you really want to?
It really comes down to it. I kind of wanted to feed it off it with...
he got fined off of it.
I know. It was a lot of money he got fined, and, it's a good way to end the show. But, honestly, Jamal Adams was very upset about the roughing the passer calls. Before this even came out, just watching the games as a whole on Sunday and Monday night, there's too many calls of this. And, we've talked about the Mahomeses of the world and Tom Brady's of the world. And, I just read another article where, a player on the defensive side of the football for Miami was told to get away from Tom. And they were referring to Tom Brady. And, referees shouldn't be saying things like that. I know the rules are the rules, but the NFL is going to really have to make some drastic changes. This is a violent game. This is what people love. People love that it's a violent game. You make millions of dollars with the risk of getting injured in this league. And, the human body obviously can't handle the game of football at times. And, we've all known that. But, you can't soften this game up to prevent injuries because, like, Trevor Siemian, breaking
There's nothing that
whatever he, he hurt himself for the year. That 15-yard penalty didn't eliminate that happening. It's not going to make a difference. All you're doing is really you're just kind of screwing over teams at that point. Myles Garrett landing on somebody and getting called for roughing the passer. Jamal Adams giving Baker Mayfield a push down the field. But the problem is that if Baker Mayfield doesn't throw that ball and Jamal Adams hits him the same way, it's not a call. So you really need to work on this. The referees really need to and even Roger Goodell. This goes all the way up to Roger Goodell, and this needs to be a situation that needs to be monitored because you're making this league super pass friendly. And the point is like I tell you, there are certain teams that have good running games. When push comes to shove, folks, and the snow comes and the rain comes and the cold weather, you need to be able to run the football. And passing is not going to get you everywhere. But the problem is it's becoming so pass-friendly on the basis that you can't hit a quarterback after he throws the football. Problem is these quarterbacks, if you know you can't get this ball off without getting hit after the way you are going to get hit, then you need to either throw it away and not try to force it down the field. And even if it is a great throw and a great completion, you need to pay the price for trying to make a throw like that.
Yeah.
If your team's not giving you the protection you need to run a play, then don't run the play, head coach. There's a lot that goes into it, and obviously what's happening with all the passing, roughing the passer calls, it's really making this league really pass-friendly, and it's really not enjoyable. I don't need to worry because I'm a Jet fan right now, and
football season's over.
Yeah, football season's basically over for me. I'm counting the minutes till the New York Islanders play. I'm already talking about NHL video games, all that.
Yeah.
But when it comes down
so
to it, if I'm a fan of a team that's competing this year, you really need to put into perspective that you don't want to lose a game on the basis of a roughing the passer call and these 15-yard penalties that lead. And what was that game the other night that the New Orleans Saints?
That was ridiculous. Now, that's kind of what I want to get into because at first I was going to say there was a roughing the passer in the Cowboy game as well. Dak Prescott was just kind of pushed down, and that was
and you're a Cowboy fan, so you're able to realize it.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous call. But I wanted to get into that Saints call too because it's the second time that they played the Rams and they got screwed over again out of a touchdown. That game could have been different.
No, I'm actually you're right. I didn't even realize about that call. I'm talking about the first week when they came all the way down the field. There was a big there was a big penalty there that led to a 15 yards, and it was a huge penalty that should not have been called. So obviously, listen, we all know that the referees are human beings and they're gonna make mistakes in this world, and it's not easy. And honestly, everyone's talking about the pass interference being reviewed, and it's very hard to review the pass interference. I've been able to call out all the results. I'm like, there's not enough proof here to show that pass interference was. It was nothing like what happened in last year's game.
Well,
and that's I've never seen that not get called before. That was the craziest part.
This last game,
I know.
Week,
with the return.
Yeah.
My
problem is, why are we whistling it dead?
Let them play.
Let it play out. If we're gonna review it, let it play out. Every touchdown has to be reviewed. So why are we gonna blow that shut? That was a touchdown, and it goes back. You look at it. It ends up being a fumble. But now because you got it, you whistled it dead.
Yeah, the whistles.
They have to take the ball there. Meanwhile, Cam Jordan just ran half the field for a touchdown that could have changed that game around.
I agree.
And they didn't even score on that drive.
I know.
So it's like,
I know.
It's a lot of problems. It comes down to being like knowledgeable on the play. Like, all right, it's a fumble. You know what? If it's an incomplete pass, we'll review it.
And we'll find
it's
out.
gonna review. It's gonna be reviewed.
It's really just a hard thing to debate there, and I understand the point there, and I understand every Saints fan being very upset.
But it would have been a touchdown. So,
but the point is that if they make a call on the field, the problem is that if you're making the call on the field, it really comes down to it. Like, you got to remember, the review is important.
Oh, I know.
But a review, they'll either say the call was confirmed or the call stands.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
So if they truthfully believe, really truly believe,
it'll say confirmed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the point is that they can't prove it because it's very close. Because I've seen plays where the ball's going forward, and you really can't tell if the ball was loose or not.
Understand that.
And it's hard.
But it's
then you have to play the safe way. So it's really hard to debate that.
But my thing is, every turnover is reviewed. That's the rule. Every turnover is reviewed. Every touchdown is reviewed. So it's like,
well, I don't think that's true.
It is true.
No, if there's a fumble out there that potentially couldn't have been a fumble. Is it a league review every time?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I thought these were all coaches' challenge. Then what's the point of the coaches' challenge
No,
now?
yeah, actually, you might be right.
Yeah.
Every touchdown is
Yeah,
reviewed.
every touchdown. So,
but that's the thing. Like, that would have been a touchdown. So,
I agree.
So let it be
But if they're
reviewed.
going to blow the whistle because they
Either
truthfully
way-
believe that it was an incomplete pass, they could say, all right, the call on the field and it was a clear recovery. But then,
But
yeah,
that's-
I know what you mean.
that's
It's
what
it's a
I'm
gray
saying.
area of the NFL. But,
Yeah.
we could go on about this for hours. So it's obviously something that the NFL is going to have to clean up. And, I mean, me as a Jet fan, with not a team that's competing, it's not really affecting. But I would feel really bad for a team right now that is competing like the Cowboys.
Yeah, you didn't have any Jets gear on for the first time.
Why the hell would I right now? I love the New York Jets, and I will support them through everything. But right now, what's going on with injuries and, Adam Gase is like almost losing the locker room. You got to find ways to clean this up.
You want to go to the Cowboy Giant game? Jet game?
When is that?
That's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
3 weeks from now?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were putting. No, I have no intention of wanting to go to that game.
You might have Darnold back.
I got you, but I got you though. We might not. It's funny. Someone actually offered me 2 free tickets to the Jet game, and I would have loved to have gotten out of work and been able to go, and but just no. And it's funny. I saw people even on Twitter. They were pumped to go to the game, and then they realized that half the team for the New York Jets was out, and they were like, "All right, forget what I said on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not pumped to go to this game." So the Jets are gonna have to find a way to win eventually. But right now, it's not a tank. Almost. I want to see Sam Darnold come back and do great things.
Well,
and I don't even care
I'm
if they
gonna get
finish 8-8.
tickets to the Cowboy Jet game.
Oh yeah, I'll meet you there.
Do you want to go?
No.
Well, that's not nice.
It's not. No. I am not. No. It's not anything towards you. Promise.
All right. Well, that will do it for the show today. That will do it. Hopefully next week. Now, everybody, send your digs at this guy over here. Twitter, Instagram. Instagram, he's KDonlin929 because our
Sick.
birthday is next weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no.
I forgot we share the same birthday.
Yeah,
Pretty
we
crazy,
do. Yeah,
actually.
we do. So our birthday's next weekend, so wish us a happy birthday. First off, second off, send your tweets, send your Instagram DMs or whatever towards this guy over here. Tell him to get 2 shows down next week, so we could talk about some news during the week and then do a pick show before Sunday. That's what I'm saying. You should say the same. KDonlin929 on Instagram, and it's Donnie the Voice on Twitter.
Damn it! I didn't think you knew that.
Yeah, let's yeah, you're not getting away from that. I mean, I'm the one that posts on Instagram and Twitter about the show, so I think I know your Twitter handle. Also, we got to try to get this guy, a voice job in sports. We were going to try to get him in the Islanders, but they scooped that away real quick.
Yeah, it all doesn't.
Yeah.
Internships. No.
No.
I'm here on a mission,
No.
folks.
Mission.
Not an internship.
Yeah, and maybe we'll get the K&J play-by-play.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, we got to get that done soon.
Well, let's
We
get it
gotta-
done.
Yeah. Maybe
Enjoy
maybe
the
next
Thursday
week.
night game, folks.
Maybe
It's coming
next
on.
week. Maybe next week. How about that?
The game
Everybody,
is coming on.
Everybody posted, he's got people going over to his house, so he's got to get out of here. So, I'm Jerry.
I'm Kevin.
Be breezy.
Be breezy. Really funny.
You've been listening to Running Up the Score. We run up the score on Sports Radio. For more Running Up the Score, go follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at RUTS Sports.